We're in hard times and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida.
The Christian Star began as a newspaper whose news focus of interest was of Christians, but it's become a lot more than that, covering issues of concerns to our community, covering issues of national, state, local, and political agendas that affect us today. The Christian Star is available free at any 7-Eleven store. So pick up your copy of the Christian Star Bilingual free at 7-Eleven today.
¿Necesitas un abogado? Detente. No contrates un abogado simplemente por haberlo visto en un anuncio comercial. Lawyers Consumer Directory te ofrece la solución para todo tipo de problemas legales, tales como inmigración, bancarrota, divorcios, entre otros. Y hasta te ayuda a cómo contratar un abogado. No te rompa la cabeza buscando la solución cuando la tienes en tus manos. Adquiérelo gratis, sí, absolutamente gratis en cualquier 7-Eleven.
Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Solo 1,000 se necesitan para hacerla permanente.
Su donativo ayudará a estudiantes con becas.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Demostremos que en la unión está la fuerza.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana en el Departamento de Vehículos de Motor más cercano o llama hoy al 321-277-0850.
Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you on Bright House Cable. For 12 years, we've been on the air, and we bring you information of interest that involves the Hispanic community. And I'm here with Jose Miranda. Jose, how are you?
Good. How are you?
How are you? And Monica, our favorite co-host here. Did I just promote you? I didn't promote you. No, she's a contributor, right?
Right.
Well, contributors should be a little bit further back, you know, from the set, right? And we're going to talk about a couple of things. We tailed off last week. We had a very interesting show on food stamps. We, highlighted the fact that we have 47 million people collecting food stamps in the United States, and there was a lot of fraud going on. Today we're going to talk about some more stuff that has people really buzzing. Atlanta school system is rocked with a scandal right now that has to do with the superintendent and 180 teachers, okay, who have all been charged by the state attorney general for cheating,
rigging the books
for their students. Go ahead, go. Who wants to go on this?
Just cheating. They're giving, I guess, they went from a 25% of the school, which is like a D-rated
passing grade, a D-rated school,
and now it's an 80%. So they were getting bonuses since the school was doing better. They were all getting money.
Right. This was a conspiracy set up so that they would benefit. All of them would benefit.
Correct.
Because if they could raise it to a certain level, they get paid for the.
They get bonuses. And Beverly Hall, who was the person in charge, was actually named Superintendent of the Year in the country.
Wow.
For that big jump that the school system made in that short period of time. Right. But they were slipping the kids all the information.
Through the teachers. I don't think
through the teachers. What they do is they do it the way they do it.
Do you know they were slipping it, or were they correcting the tests?
No, I don't know how it's done, how they did it. But one of the ways that it's done is that these people have the tests way in advance, the competency test way in advance. And what they do is they take the answers from the competency test and they actually feed it to the kids during the lessons.
Right.
So there's no deviation no process of thought developed. In other words, the kids aren't.
To the test.
Yeah, the kids, they teach to the test. The kids aren't really being taught how to use their brains and evaluate and construct, you know, their thoughts.
I bet you the kids were just as surprised when they opened the test booklets and said,
And they said,
hey,
I know the
answer to that one.
They not only were surprised,
So their
but
bond,
now,
how much now they're in jail?
they didn't arrest any of the kids. They participated.
Well, the kids are innocent bystanders. Come on, if it's not given to them by the
she
teachers,
she got a $7.5 million bond. She had to post, which is $750,000 in cash. Which, you know, that was on the air, and they said, well, that teacher doesn't have $750,000 to post as a bond, so she's going to stay in jail.
Well, maybe she got that in bonuses.
Maybe.
No. Maybe she has it stashed somewhere.
The reality is it seems to be a concept of corruption that people don't think twice about moving into a gray area that can actually be against the law. And it's happening across the board, you know. There's a lot of things going on in the country, and the politicians have been doing it all the time. They've been doing it for a long time.
Do you think they're trying to save the schools, or
no,
just save them jobs?
Save their jobs, because don't forget, they're put in scrutiny if the schools are not doing better. The teachers are showing they're not educating the proper way, because there should be always improvement in schools.
Right.
And if mostly they're D-rated, they need to show improvement. So it's either the children are not being taught at a certain level, or the teachers are not doing their job.
Yeah.
Well, so they're the ones that
But teachers get paid, too, the more they go get educated.
Correct. But the teachers do it. Most of the teachers don't get paid enough. A lot of teachers do this because of the love they have for teaching these children. It's not because of money. If you ask any teacher, it's not because of the money.
Well, obviously, these people did it for the money.
Because they were getting bonuses and they were. But it was their lack of focus on teaching them or finding new methods of teaching them to bring this grade or this.
But it wasn't only bonuses.
Scamming.
Monica, it wasn't only bonuses. They were getting other benefits. The school system was getting all kinds of money. New furniture, new computers. This thing was running all over the place.
Because it generated money.
Because it generated a lot of money and national attention. And not only that, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them weren't getting speaking engagements. If this woman was actually named Superintendent of the Year,
she has speaking engagements.
She would get, you know that. She's going to get speaking engagements, consultant, how did you do it, you know, and she, you know. So she was making, she had the potential to make a lot more money. But what it really turns out to be is a real disservice to the students.
It is.
Because what's happening is they're not being properly prepared. They're being slipped through the system without being properly prepared to enter society at the close of high school or to enter a college exam, because none of them can pass a college exam unless it was the same teachers giving the college exam.
Right.
So the students were the real losers here. You know, they're the ones who are being really, and it's fraud. It's just fraud. It's fraud against the kids. It's fraud against the system. It's stealing money.
Well, that's why 180.
That's probably their bond.
That's 100 out of the 100. Yeah, out of 180, 150 resigned their positions. That's astronomical. That tells you the whole story. You know, if 150 resign.
Now you have to hire
150
teachers to come
and where are they?
They're not sitting around waiting on the corner.
Yeah, well, that means that school system is going to suffer for a couple of years. Yes. You know, but, you know, it's something that's really sad because it affects the kids.
It doesn't pay to do the crime.
It doesn't pay to do the crime. Okay, you know, David Stockman, who used to be Ronald Reagan's budget director. Can you do that again?
He loves Ronald Reagan.
Budget director has come out on mass media and said the United States financial system is going to collapse. This guy was a budget director for the president. No, totally collapsed. It's going to be totally collapsed, and for a lot of reasons. But he said it started with George W. Bush. Okay, that George W. Bush started all of these, the wars.
Wars that were never funded.
Two wars, two tax cuts.
Yeah,
okay, so those trillions of dollars that were initiated were carried over into the Obama administration, because when Obama became president, those wars were still going on in Afghanistan, and the cleanup was still in Iraq. So that war expenditure kept going and going and going. Now, this is what he said. He said that because of that, and because the present Fed policy, Federal Reserve policy, is for printing money with no gold backup, the United States dollar is crumbling in value and continues to crumble in value. And finally, you know, it's that just one drop of water that sinks the boat. So he is predicting that the United States will suffer an economic collapse within 2 years.
Nice guy.
And the bubble will burst, the stock market.
No, he says that they're doing it wrong because they keep spending more money that we don't have. They have to stop spending money we don't have.
It's called stimulus. We put a stimulus in the package that did start to help, but it wasn't enough money. So when people say we put enough money in the system to help, but it wasn't enough, now you're saying
he doesn't believe on the Democrat way of fixing it. He says the only way that could be fixed is stop.
Obama just signed a bill today. No, last week, 5 days ago.
Tuesday?
For $100 million for a group to study the human brain. What do you think of that?
When are you leaving?
If they pay me $100 million, I'm gone already. Are you kidding me? They don't have to pay me a lot. I just, I take a little bit. Well, $100 million, I take 1%.
Okay, why are we committing to? I didn't read.
Well, because
why are we committing to that type of?
What he's trying to say is that he's spending more money for other research when we're already in.
Is that 100?
So that's what he's.
What they're going at is they're saying that the first 40 months of a baby developing. And they want to study that, and they want to study the after effects of how the brain reacts and how babies can be taught at a very early age. At a very early age. The question, I think it's valid.
But we know that.
Yeah, but I think it's valid. That's something that we know. The question is, do we have to spend $100 million
now? Because this has always
been
talked about in science. Even in when the fetus is in your stomach, they say it learns. It can even recognize things that left impressions in them. Even being in your stomach. So it has nothing to do with something we're going to learn something new. It's already been proven.
Okay. So that $100 million we can save, but it was signed, and that $100 million is going to be spent even though we don't have it. But the Chinese will lend it to us. Okay?
Because we're helping them out.
Yeah. Maybe we're just hedging the bet with the Chinese, okay, so that they cooperate with us so we don't get nuked by North Korea. If we get nuked by North Korea, we won't be able to pay the Chinese back. The 46 cents on every dollar that we're spending, so we'll get that protection. So David Stockman is out there. He said put everything in cash.
Why is David Stockman out there now?
I don't know.
It's just it's been trying to bring it out, and finally he got it out. But they said that he's been with this issue for a while. It's nothing new. It's an issue he's been at for a while.
But now the media just hooked back in.
He was able to.
I think because of the budget crisis.
Is he in a think tank position?
I don't know what kind of a think tank he's in, but he does have the credibility to get on CNN and Fox News.
He was the budget coordinator for
Yeah.
So then he's to blame for the current situation.
No, he talks against Bush. He quit his job. He walked out on his job.
Reagan.
After Reagan.
He walked out of Reagan.
Would you say who?
Reagan. And also he talks about Bush. And he also talked about the one that went against Obama that didn't win.
Okay. All right, so as we go. Now let's talk. We did some stuff on drugs where I said publicly that I think drugs should be
legalized.
Should be legally dispensed.
Monitored.
And monitored, okay? And that's for drug addicts, okay? And they should be able to go to Florida Hospital and pay $2 for their fix whenever they want it, showing proper ID, So I think that I'm for that. I'm absolutely for that. Now, the Netherlands has been successfully doing those things for many, many years, and their crime rate is way down. What was their crime rate?
Well, right now, they are closing 8 prisons because they don't have enough prisoners. They have a prison. They have a prison. Yeah, we can send some of ours over there.
I like the way you think. Put them on a plane and send them.
They have
Guess what?
prison.
You're going to go to Denmark and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, well, now if you go visit, you're not allowed to use drugs over there. Only
the
residents.
Can.
No, just send them.
No, you can. You can.
Well,
you cannot buy it in coffee shops
anymore.
As a tourist. You can buy it in coffee shops if you're a citizen of the country.
Because they're registered, and that's how they're monitoring you. But what happens is they have a prison that fits 14,000 people. Well, they only have 12,000 prisoners in all because ever since they legalized drugs, but they monitor. They also tax these people that are distributing these drugs. So they are also making some money for their country.
Okay, so what
it won't work here.
Well, it might.
California was supposed to do the Proposition 19 in 2010, and if they would have probably.
Colorado is going through this. There's 10 states, I think, that already.
Washington was another one.
Okay, we're talking about. I think Washington, New York, probably Boston, major cities. We have so many prisoners in jail.
But there's usually, and I read,
you know, we have prisoners in jail for pot.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
For small-time stuff, it's mostly marijuana, and if they legalize it, most of these prisoners will be out, and the prison rate will go down.
They have to treat marijuana like they do liquor. They have to, you know, the government has to step in. If that's required to increase the sales, you know, it depends because
but
they
they're
got liquor.
Be able to tax it.
You have some liquor that's not 8 years old.
And tax it.
Yeah, but
that's what the plan was supposed to be.
Also, check to make sure that it's not carrying any kind of disease and stuff like that.
And educate the people that are using it.
I mean, it's tobacco, just like tobacco.
You see, the age difference is 12 to plus here in the States, and over there is age 15 to 35 that is using marijuana.
I don't think kids should use marijuana here.
What's that?
Kids should not be involved in using marijuana.
It should be 18 or 21.
That's over there it's 18.
No, it's the same thing. You say kids shouldn't use cigarettes, but they use cigarettes. There's going to be a flow down. But the reality is, this way you can get government to control it. It'll bring money in, okay? And it will take it will take the criminality. It will take the criminality out of the product, which is so important.
You don't want government in our lives.
No, I want some government in there that just to make sure things are done, you know, in control. That the Democrats don't go crazy.
This is a
we only have a minute left. So what do you got to say for the last minute? We only have 1 minute, less than a minute left. What do you want to say? That's enough.
Okay.
Your turn.
Let's go.
Dear Lord.
All right.
Wow.
We didn't get to guns, okay? We didn't get to guns. The reality is...
No guns. We're done with guns. Okay, Colorado banned high-powered
I thought you said no guns.
rifles.
I thought you said no guns. Well, let me...
They ended up this competition that was supposed to be done in Colorado.
If I started, then I started. That means don't interrupt, right? Okay. The gun situation, like we were talking before, I'm going to get a big horn and just go, you know. The gun situation, everything that happened, all these terrible tragedies that happened, is not going to be solved with this any gun restrictions. It's going to happen again no matter what, no matter what. So, you know, let them work it out. I'm sure everybody's going to find a compromise. This is Danny Ramos. Thank you guys for being here. We are going to have a 10-minute segment after this with a woman called Anna Agostini and her son who has Down syndrome. The interview was handled by... Jose Miranda. He handled the interview. So what I want you to do is send me lots of emails, okay, to tell me how he did, because, you know, he's subject right now to an evaluation, okay? We're going to take a break. We're in hard times, and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida.
The Christian Star began as a newspaper whose news focus of interest was of Christians, but it's become a lot more than that, covering issues of concerns to our community, covering issues of national, state, local, and political agendas that affect us today. The Christian Star is available free at any 7-Eleven store. So pick up your copy of the Christian Star Bilingual free at 7-Eleven today.
¿Necesitas un abogado? Detente. No contrates un abogado simplemente por haberlo visto en un anuncio comercial. Lawyers Consumer Directory te ofrece la solución para todo tipo de problemas legales, tales como inmigración, bancarrota, divorcios, entre otros. Y hasta te ayuda a cómo contratar un abogado. No te rompa la cabeza buscando la solución cuando la tienes en tus manos. Adquiérelo gratis, sí, absolutamente gratis en cualquier 7-Eleven.
Ahora puedes demostrar tu orgullo hispano mientras manejas en la carretera con la nueva tablilla o placa de auto hispana conmemorando los 500 años del descubrimiento de Florida por Juan Ponce de León.
Obtén tu tablilla hispana este año y harás la diferencia.
Nuestra comunidad se beneficiará con más programas y servicios.
Resalta nuestra cultura, nuestras raíces.
Welcome back to Hispanic Speak Out TV. I'm your host, Jose Miranda. As you know, we here capture and speak about a lot of topics. Tonight, I'm being joined by Anna Agostini, who is a parent of a Down syndrome child who's with us tonight. And we're here to speak about the problems concerning that and what we can do and make you aware of what's going on. Hi, Ann, how are you?
Hi. Thank you for inviting us.
Oh, we're glad to have you. This seems to be such a mysterious kind of a thing. Most people call it a disease. Some people try not to call it at all. Some people try to make it like it doesn't exist. So please give us a little thing about what is Down syndrome.
Well, Down syndrome is a genetic disorder, and it can be hereditary or not necessarily. It's very common, and one of 100 births, if the mom is 40, it can happen to be a Down syndrome. In my case, I was only 21 when I had Gabriel, so I was not even expecting that to happen, but everything happens for a reason. And I'm very happy through the years of the lessons that I have received from Gabriel.
Right. Now, we know that it's difficult, I believe, and probably it hurts the family in some ways. It can tear the family or mold the family as one. Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's shocking. You are not prepared for news like this. Right. As you accept and leave the denial phase behind, then you are able to be an instrument of help for them. Okay.
You live in the state of Florida, yes, where the budgets are very, very tight, and it would seem that it's almost difficult to get a dime out to do any kind of good deeds out of the government. Tell me, how has your interaction with the government been?
Well, things have changed a lot, and in 2010, there was a big budget cut at that time here in Florida, and at the same time, Gabriel was turning 21. He was promised a job after graduating from a post-transition program, excellent program at UCF, and that didn't happen. Because that didn't happen, he was not expecting this downfall. He went through a very difficult and severe depression, which wouldn't let me go back to work. I'm a school teacher. Okay. I teach students with disabilities, but because I'm a single mom, I had to stay home to take care of Gabriel, because Gabriel is an adult. There's no programs for taking care of them. In the past, there was a budget funding for this. Okay. It was called the Med Waiver. All right. He's been on that list since 2005. And so far, he hasn't been able to go back to work, and it has been a big struggle. And so I decided that I wasn't going to, become another depressive mom because of the situation, so I tried to turn the situation into a positive one.
Okay. I was reading somewhere that you were gracious enough to share with me, there's been an 8-year period of really, really tight austerity, right? And people getting on the list does not guarantee them anything other than getting on the list, and then you have to kind of wait to see if you get picked from the list. Is that right?
Exactly.
Well, that's horrible.
It is.
That's horrible.
It's like no hope.
How do you handle that as a parent, looking at your child?
I'm telling you, I take one day at a time, and I have been advocating alone, because it's hard to find other parents that are willing to speak out. And I am very grateful for this forum to let me share this information. That way maybe I can bring awareness outside, and we can get together as parents and get more organized, because what's happening is that there is no hope for single parents to take care of, to go back to work. I want to go back to work. I want him to have a productive life. I don't want daycare for him. Gabby is very intelligent. He's being able to get trained in many areas, and it's like me fighting alone is not going to get me anywhere.
Now, are you part of an organization, or you're associated with organizations that are helping?
There are organizations like the Down Syndrome Association of Florida and everything. But they can give you some advice as they are growing up. But when they turn adults, that is the hardest part.
Now, I heard there's some good things that have been happening now for Gabriel. Tell us about it.
there are a couple of things that have been happening. We must turn things that are negative in our lives into positive ones. And so in the process, I was able to publish a book in Gabriel's name as an inspirational, motivational book dedicated to parents with disabilities, so they can have messages of hope in the process if they had to go through this. And also, after a big battle, calling them and pushing really hard, Gabriel was able to be accepted into an OJT, which is an on-the-job training program through vocational rehab. And he's starting at Goodwill Industries next week.
Congratulations, Gabriel. Very good, very good. So, this book is from the heart? This is what motivated you? This has pulled you?
Yes. As Gabriel was going through this depression, I had to start looking for different views to keep him, keep his mind working, creative. So I decided to, because I was not working, I didn't have the money to take him to places, so I had to become creative myself. And he started to share some acceleration phrases of happiness and wisdom from the heart, and I started to write them down. And so I said, this can be very inspirational for parents, and this is the book.
What do you do to keep yourself motivated?
That's a very good question. Really, one day at a time, I keep my mindset very positive. And spiritually speaking, I am very devoted to God. He's giving me the strength to do this day by day. And by inspiring others, I have 2 Facebook pages.
Tell us about them real quick.
Yes. One is for mothers like me. It's called Madres Latinas Resilientes.
Okay.
And this is to give them the information of what I have been doing with Gabriel, so they can get ideas or they can share whatever they want to ideas to make them to have a productive life. And I also have the other Facebook page, which is Freedom of the Heart by Gabriel Hernandez. And we're going to add you as a milestone for tonight, being able to be here.
The show is honored to be part of your process and healing and growing, and we look forward to helping. Tell us once again how to reach you, or how other parents can reach out to you.
Yes, through the Facebook page, Freedom of the Heart by Gabriel Hernandez. You can reach me. My phone number is 407-443-7282. And the book is for sale in Amazon.com.
Outstanding. How has this been, real quick, we're going into the end of the program, but how has this been emotionally for Gabriel?
At the beginning was really hard, but he has been learning that he's not left alone. Maybe he didn't have the opportunities outside, but family comes first. And so we had been placing him as the center, so he's been feeling the love that he's been needing in the process.
Okay. Listen, we want to thank you very much for taking the time out to join us. Please, this is a very gifted child, and there are a lot of gifted children out there that are undergoing the same process. We need to tell the legislators that we need to get that money out to us so we can help these kids and to promote them, because they're unique and special. Thank you again for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm Jose Miranda. This is Hispanic Speak Out. We'll see you again next time, next week. Good night.
We're in hard times, and some of us are going to need a lawyer. And if you need a lawyer, don't just react to a TV commercial. Get a copy of the Lawyers Consumer Directory, which is available absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven store throughout Central Florida. The Lawyers Consumer Directory is going to give you real hardcore knowledge on how to hire a lawyer and a lot of information on issues like bankruptcy, foreclosure, and more. Get the Lawyers Consumer Directory. It's absolutely free of charge at any 7-Eleven throughout Central Florida.